Hey, how's your day going? Feeling good? Good enough to kiss someone? What about a teen girl who drowned in 1800s in France? What? My name is Anton and today I'll tell you how a girl who drowned became worldwide famous while no one even knew her name. Was completely forgotten for some time but then helped millions of people survive drowning and was immortalized in a Michael Jackson song. So it all began around 1885. No one knows for sure, but on that later. France, Paris. 2 years before the construction of the Eiffel Tower had begun. The lovely smell of croissant, light accordion motifs and red wine. What a lovely day to commit suicide, some lady thought probably. And drowned herself in the river of Seine.
So it'll happen right here, probably.
We don't know her name, her motives, or even her age for sure, but she was from 16 to 20. The only thing that we know, that she probably died happy, that she will probably become the most kissed lady in the whole world, and that she will save millions of lives via an unbelievable irony. So, Paris, 1885, her body flows and finally gets to the Paris morgue, where the local pathologist suspected that she had drowned, which is unsurprising considering they took her body out of the river. Anyway, he found her beautiful. Remarkably so, because he decided to make a plastered death mask of her face. At least that is what the legend says. The fact is that the beautiful yet mysterious half smile on her face literally blew up the glamorous trends of the capital of fashion. Pendants, paintings, necklaces, coins, plaster figurines and art bas-reliefs on the walls made her an icon. And unlike today, when trends pass in weeks or even days, L'Inconnu de la Seine, or the drowned Mona Lisa as she was called also, remained popular and piqued mentions in the early 1930s. Around that time, by the way, when this face had already become famous, there was an artist who said that his teacher said that it was actually a young woman he knew. She was a model and died of tuberculosis in 1875. And then another guy showed up and said that it was his daughter, but still didn't say her name or age or... And you may ask, how did they not identify her? It's not 1585, it's 1885. Well, they had a database for the Paris citizens, but seems like this young lady just came there, because no one recognized her or declared that their relative or friend was missing. About that recognition thing, by the way, French in the 19th century really knew how to make fun. There were so many corpses picked in the river that they literally built a gallery where they exhibited dead drowned bodies to the public through the glass. Officially, it was for recognition purposes. In reality, people went there for fun. Oh god, French. Okay, jokes aside, it was a dark time and no one really remembers or cares who the L'Inconnu de la Seine was. Her face came way further than just pictures and figures. At some point, she turned into a kind of morbid meme for early 20th century writers, who contrived countless dramatic histories for this heartbroken heroine, engulfed by ill fortune and the weight of water. So on the edge of 19th and the 20th century, literally everyone knew this story, both in France, in Germany, in whole other Europe, and even in other parts of the world. And now we get to the interesting part. Who kissed a dead teenager and how did she manage to save lives? Well, we jump a little forward to the 1960s and to Norway. People then had almost forgot about the drowned French girl's face and no one even remembered this story anymore. So our story continues with a 40-year-old Asmund Laerdal, owner of a local toy dolls production, who was having his big success in this industry when suddenly a tragedy almost happened. One day, Laerdal's 2-year-old son, Thor, nearly drowned. If he had his father not rushed to intervene, pulling the limp boy from the water and forcing the water out of his airways, things would have turned out very differently. So, when a group of anesthesiologists approached Laerdal and told him that they needed a doll to demonstrate a newly developed rescuation technique, a procedure known as CPR, they found an attentive, receptive listener. At the time, he was making realistic plastic dolls with very realistic hair, and he had connections with a doctor and an engineer who basically invented the CPR. So making a fully working doll wasn't a problem, but she needed a face. She, just because he thought that the rescue people are usually men and they would enjoy breathing into the mouth of a woman more. Yeah, that gender thing didn't age well. Do you remember I told you about the art bas-reliefs on the walls with that drowned girl's face with this one? By an accident, one of these hung on the wall of Asmund Laerdal's mother's apartment. And he was like, I don't know who she is, but she looks pretty, so why not? I think she would save a lot of people from drowning. What an irony, right? And he was right. Since she became available in the 1960s, Resusci Anne hasn't been the only CPR mannequin on the market, but she's considered the first and the most successful patient simulator ever, responsible for helping hundreds of millions of people learn the basics of how to save a life with CPR. That incredible number, amassed over 60 years of life-giving mouth-to-mouth, is why Resusci Anne is often said to have the most kissed face of anyone in history. And as you may have guessed, the line, "Are you okay, Annie?" famously sung by Michael Jackson, was related to the phrase used by medical students while practicing to help a drowned person, to tell if he's conscious or not. So she also became a character of Michael Jackson's song. What a story that is, isn't it? The next week I'll tell you a secret Soviet story of a pilot who managed to land a commercial jet in the center of a huge city on the river with no engines in the 60s. And he did it between two bridges, almost hitting a boat. And the river was this small compared to the Hudson River. And it happened in my childhood neighborhood, so we will go there and I will show you the exact place. However, it was all kept a secret and the pilot died unknown. Why? Subscribe to know and like the video.
Привет, it's Anton's Russian Mafia cousin speaking. If you don't subscribe to this channel, you'll regret it.